Welcome to the First Lady Point of View show, everyone. I'm your host, the First Lady Felicia K. This is where you can expect culture, music, news, reviews, fashion, and exclusive interviews. So stick around, because after this short break, we got an exclusive that you definitely don't want to miss.
It's the First Lady Point of View. First Lady Point of View. You tuned in. It's the First Lady Point of View. First Lady Point of View. Culture, music, news, reviews. You tuned in. It's the First Lady Point of View. You tuned in.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Like I said, today we have some very special guests in the house tonight, and we're going to get into an exclusive that I hope is very informative to you all. We have none other than the founders and the survivor involved with the LLC Village is Possible. All right, so I'm going to go around the table, and I want you guys to introduce yourself. We're going to start with you, Queen. Tell everybody what's your name and where you're from.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Yes. My name is Dr. Denisha Carlet. I also go by Dr. Niche in Village, and I'm one of the co-founders and executive directors of Village is Possible.
Okay, and where are you from?
I'm originally from Ohlone Lands of Oakland,
Okay.
California.
Okay. And then you?
Hello, my name is Lauren. I'm the survivor leader with Village is Possible, and I'm from Sacktown.
Okay. And then you are?
I'm Reese Cormier. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, co-founder, and clinical director with Village is Possible. And I'm also from Oakland, but also raised in Sac.
Okay. So once again, I want to thank you ladies for being here. I'm honored, first off, that you guys reached out and wanted to come on the show, because you could have picked so many other outlets to come on and talk about the impactful things that you guys are doing in the community. And I want to commend you guys for it as well, because it's a certain amount of bravery, right, that goes into being somebody that leads such a tribe. You have to be brave in the sense of, I know it takes an emotional toll, right? And I know it's a lot that goes into that. So I do want to commend you guys and give you guys your flowers for that. We're going to start with you, okay? And I want you to tell us a little bit, Dr. Niche, what made you guys start Village is Possible?
Yeah. And thanks for uplifting that, a close sister friend, Miss T, she always talks about being vulnerageous, that this work requires being vulnerable and courageous at the same time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But that's really what led us into this work. So this is my real sister, Reese. She and I, along with other survivors that have navigated human trafficking, decided to start Village is Possible as a nonprofit 3 years ago. And we really wanted to come alongside youth that are in the foster care system. So the reality is, young people that are in the foster care system have a 60% more likelihood of being approached by a trafficker. So someone who's literally going to come and try to recruit them, kidnap them, entice them into this lifestyle, and not even realizing all of what it encompasses. So we were seeing that there wasn't enough folks that had lived experience, that had navigated and knew what to look out for, that were really talking to the girls and giving them the game around, hey, like, this is not what love is, right?
Yeah.
And there's other things out there for you. You are worth so much more. And so many systems that had failed these youth, right? That had written them off as being aggressive or hostile or, beyond repair. And we see so much more. We have a whole report called that Our Wounds Have Wisdom. Right, so really wanting to create an organization that really wanted to show the youth in the community that they have wisdom, that they have power, and that we care.
Okay, I want to correct myself real quick, you guys. I referred to Village is Possible as a LLC. That is incorrect. It is a nonprofit organization, so keep that in mind when Big Dad Giving rolls around too, and I'll tap in with you guys about that. That's important. Okay. Let's move around the table a little bit, and then we're gonna spin the block back. You know what? I want to let's talk to Lauren. Let's get into your experience as a survivor and linking with these two beautiful young ladies. Tell me a little bit about how you came across Village is Possible, and then give me a little backstory as to what led you there.
Absolutely. I would like to actually start off with led me to Village is
Okay.
Possible, because it is the reason why I'm here.
Okay.
Growing up in a troubled system, in a troubled home, in a troubled background in South Sacramento, I found myself like in really hard circumstances and situations. And so I fell a victim to the system and ended up in jail, fighting gun charges and really trying to find my way out of the system, find my voice, and also be the best version of me.
Okay.
This lovely lady here, Reese, became a part of my life as a big sister, a mentor, a part of their family, and that's what brought me to Village is Possible. 2.5, 3 years strong,
Okay.
and being a part of their team has completely changed my life 360 degrees.
Sense of purpose, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you making a difference for somebody else now is gratifying, I'm sure.
Communities, youth in Sacramento, throughout the Bay Area, I live every day for the work that I do. And being 24, 25, working in the position as a survivor leader has really opened so many doors and opportunities for me. So it's such a blessing.
It's going to get better too, and bigger and better. Just keep doing the work and it's going to come to you. And you're inviting too. You're warm and you're so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so as far as so far, what would you say has been the biggest challenge for you walking in this new light? Because, you know, it could be heavy sometimes.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge in being a survivor leader is continuing to remain in your light, taking on other people's pain while helping them grow in their situations. Because we can all relate and have similarities in our stories, but we never can understand what each youth goes through as an individual. And so remaining to remember that I'm here to guide them and not fix them, but be an open ear and example.
Okay.
You better get it, Lauren.
Yeah, that's what's up. I love that. All right, now, Reese, you said it was that more people know you by Reese, so I'm going to call you by Reese. I feel like, you know, we family now.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what it requires to stay level as you're coming from the social work aspect, the counselor, the activist. Well, that you guys both do that, right? But when you talk about being like the clinical aspect, right? You are probably more required to be less attached, if you will, by obligation and responsibility to your title. But I know that's a challenge because you are a human and the cause is your passion. So where do you find the balance in the two, or do you just say, you know what, there is no balance?
I'm a boots on the ground.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, she is.
Okay.
I'm still outside of our wonderful org. I do some private practice and group practice
Okay.
on the side too. Because of that, you know, I've always said I was gonna stay in the trenches until my legs stop working.
Okay, okay.
So the balance that I have of that is just making sure that I'm listening to the youth. I've been in the advocate position before. I've been a group home staff. I've been a social worker. I've been a therapist for foster youth. So just bringing in all of those experiences in addition to putting on my clinical hat. I think my clinical hat is like the last thing.
The last thing. I get that vibe from you.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I love that because when people are, usually by the time we need help, right? We search for refuge. We are at our lowest.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, we don't need somebody coming at us from the perspective of, this is just my job.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, I love that and I appreciate that. And thank you for that. It's important. And it's important to see women of color in this field because, you know, a lot of times we have a hard time dropping our guard to people we don't relate to, if you will. So that's good. I love it. It's admirable. And I look forward to just watching you guys just continue to grow and do what it's supposed to do, man. So we're going to bounce back to you, Dr. Love.
Hey.
Because you just got that
that.
love
Yes.
and energy, okay? We're going to bounce back to you because you wear probably the most hats, right?
Hats on, hats on.
Yeah, yeah. Just by the title. What comes with that title is if all else fails, call the doctor, right? So what has been the biggest challenge for you trying to be available in all of these lanes? What's been the biggest challenge? Do you sometimes feel like, man, I just wish I could have stayed with that person 15 more minutes? Is that hard for you?
You know, it is, and I appreciate so much that we truly operate in village. We really move as a team, and I never feel like what I'm doing alone. I definitely feel that, right? Like I am the final say-so, the last resort, like all those other pieces. And I can also call on these ladies and the rest of our team when I'm like, I ain't got it today, right? Like I need somebody else to breathe and ground us. I need, you know, I need that support too. And the beautiful thing is that we embed this in the work that we do so that any one of us can pick up that baton,
And
right?
keep going.
And keep going. And so sometimes even as a leader, I need those reminders too, to slow down, to ground, to like feel my center and refill myself, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's the hardest part, is that when there's so much to be done, and especially right now in the times that we're living in, things are changing every day, you know? And so the hardest thing is taking that breath and just putting that warrior spirit right back on, and also being okay when I need to cry and I need to vent, because that also needs to come out.
Yeah, it
right?
does. It's a human emotion, right? You
Yeah.
got to get it out. I want, you know what? Do we got time before the break? Because I know this next one is going to be a little layered. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about the commercial sexual exploitation of children. We have it as CSEC,
Yes.
right? I want you to tell me specifically, what exactly is that? Is that a separate entity? Or is that the core value of what Village is Possible stands for?
Yeah, thank you for that. That's such an important question. So there's a larger umbrella of human trafficking. So human trafficking encompasses both labor trafficking. So when you have someone that you're, you know, taking into your home and you're making them watch your kids and cook all the food, and then you're keeping them, you know, locked away and they're not getting compensated and things of that nature. That's just one example of labor trafficking. And then you also have sex trafficking. So when there's some kind of sexual abuse that is happening, when it comes to CSEC, the commercial sexual exploitation of children, it means that you have a young person who is under the age of 18, and just by the fact that they're a minor means that they can't consent to these sexual acts.
Okay.
So by law, there's already an assumed that there's some kind of coercion and fraud when it's a child. So you have a person under 18 who is exchanging sex for something. So that could be a place to live. Survival. Sex for survival. And so that is the exploitation piece that we address. And so that is the core of what we do. We focus on young people that are actively being exploited or have that in their history, or they're at significant risk. Because like we said, just by the youth being in the foster care system or juvenile justice system, they have a 60% more likelihood of someone seeing those vulnerabilities within them and attacking that.
Capitalizing on it. Wow. Thank you for that knowledge, because a lot of us never heard of it being broken down that way.
Yeah.
You know, and that's important because the labor, you just see, we forget about that component, right?
Right.
And that is major because I met a guy recently. He told me he had his adoptive son with him. Just give you guys a little. This is just how important what you guys do is. He said, I said, oh, is that your son? He said, yeah. He said, well, me and my wife got, this was recently. He said, me and my wife got them, we bought them as a pair. He has a sister. I looked at my older sister like, did I just hear him say? I was so taken aback, and I, you know, and some people might say, girl, you was overreacting. You don't know how he meant that. No, that just didn't sound right to me. He said, we bought them as a pair, him and his sister. What?
Yeah.
I am outdone. But that goes to show how comfortable society has gotten with this, that I don't think he thought twice of what he said, and probably till after he read my body language and my face and him and his wife left my presence, he probably said, I don't know if I probably messed up with saying that.
But it's so ingrained in our
Yes.
system, in our culture. When you look back to how even the child welfare system was formed in the late 1800s, it started with the orphan trains.
Yeah.
And so taking kids whose parents had died because of poverty and different things and putting them on a train to areas that had farms and things like that. And that was the initial labor trafficking. You literally were having kids come and work on your farm in exchange for shelter.
That's a lot. We got so much we got to unpack here. We got a break coming up. We're going to get my girl Reese some water, and we're going to come back because there's so many layers to this whole situation, and it's just a lot. But I'm so grateful that we have the queens here to just kind of get you guys informed of what's going on. And I really hope you guys are getting these gems and that it opens your eyes, right, for things to look out for. Yeah, we'll be right back after this. Let me gather myself and get my girl some water. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Culture, music, news, reviews. You tuned in.
You're watching Access Sacramento, home of Game of the Week. Your local high school football and basketball coverage. Game of the Week airs Fridays on Channel 17. For full schedule of coverage, please visit accesssacramento.org and click on the Game of the Week banner for times and video on demand links.
All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Well, but we're going to continue with the interview, and we're going to continue to talk to the executive director, right, or the executive director and the co-founder of Villages Possible, and then one of our survivor coordinators, right? Did I say that correctly?
Survivor leader.
Survivor leader, Miss Lauren as well. So I want to talk a little bit more. You were telling us about, it's called CSEC, right?
Yes.
Okay, I said the letters. CSEC. Now, you said it's mostly, is it based here in Sacramento or is it all across Northern California?
Such a great question. So nationally, California is one of the leading hubs for sexual exploitation of children. Some of the hot spots in California are Oakland, Sacramento, and Los Angeles.
And people don't know that. My first season, I think it was first season, first or second season, I had Barry on here. And I reached out to him because at the time, because I do journalism for radio. That was my original journalism job. And that was something that I was real big on, is covering missing and exploited
Yes.
young ladies
Yes.
in sexual trafficking. And I noticed that he was one of the only voices at the time in Sacramento that I would see in the trenches, on
Yep.
the front line. I'm like, why is nobody advocating for these girls? And then he would always be the only one popping up. I was seeing him everywhere. And I reached out to him because I wanted to know, why is this not more in the forefront? And he was one of the first people that informed me what you just said. He don't know why, because we are one of the biggest cities known for. You would never think that though, because we're not vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
You hear everybody talk about city of trees, city of trees. No, we don't want to talk about the
City
trees.
of trafficking.
Okay, hello. Let's change that T to
Yes.
city of trafficking, because that is something that we need to bring to the front line. So I'm so grateful to you guys for doing that, because it take a village, man. And Village is Possible.
There we
I'm
go.
sorry, that was, yeah, it does take a village to get the word out there and to make sure that everybody is vigilant, right? Because he also mentioned a stat about, I forgot the exact numbers that he said about the ratio of families that are affected by trafficking that they don't know it. Like that long lost cousin you haven't heard from in a while, nobody checked on, and y'all assuming that that person is doing good, living their best life. Guess what? She probably being trafficked.
Yeah.
You just never know, So, all right, Queen, would you please get up and show everybody your shirt and let them know who made it and what it represents?
Yes, so this shirt was designed and created by a survivor leader of human trafficking, Regina Evans. She's based out of Oakland, an amazing, phenomenal artist and activist. The front says, "No winter lasts forever, no spring skips its turn." And on the back we have the message, "Ending human trafficking now."
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, as far as you and your sister, right? I'm coming back, Lauren.
You're
I got you. As far as you and your sister, did you always know this was going to be your lane of work, or just your experience, an experience in life led you here?
Experience in life led
Okay.
us here. Like we said, we're both from Oakland originally and have had family in East Palo Alto and Sacramento. And just really growing up and seeing cousins and seeing people in my classrooms that were being trafficked. Walking down the street myself and having 40-year-old men being like, "I can give you a ride, I can do this, I can do that." And the disproportionality of how much it impacts Black girls in particular. That's another big reason why we got into this. And when you talk about why it's so silent, it's because the over-sexualization of Black girls,
Yep.
right? It's so normalized
Yeah.
so often in our communities because of development, because of how we walk or how thick we are, all these different things, right? So I had so much attention that I would hide myself. And I found myself being in situations where I didn't even realize that someone was a pimp and different things, but because I had friends that were already involved in that life that would come up and kind of block me and be like, "No, she going somewhere. She a smart one.
Yeah.
Like, come, like, I'll take you back here," like that kind of thing. So it was always like, I'm peeping what's going on. I don't quite know.
But you knowing it's not right, right?
But I'm knowing it's not right. And, fast forward and becoming a social worker, because I was the lane for the both of us, day one, half of the kids on my caseload, and I had 30 kids, at least 15 of them were being exploited. And 14 out of those 15 were Black girls. And nobody was doing anything. And this was the early 2000s. And when I would bring it up, it was, "Oh, well, they're asking for it." Or they're the ones that are leaving the group home, right? Like all of the projection that was put on them. So it immediately became like, we need to build awareness. We need to build coalitions. We need to bring more understanding of the impact of this and the intergenerational components of it too.
Right. You know, you touched on something that was so important. You said because the hypersexuality that goes into the label, right, with Black girls. In my family, we're originally from the South. I grew up in Sacramento, but I've always gone back and forth down south. And one thing that is real big down there, it's a lot of like molestation and things of that nature. But one thing I noticed, and you hit the nail right on the head, is the first thing people will say, "Well, you know that girl just fast."
Yep.
How you fast at 10 years old?
Yeah.
Unless somebody introduced
Yep.
sexuality to you in some type of way, right? That is, I don't understand that. And it's really big with women of color, Black girls. She just fast. How? 10, 11, 12 years old? Find out why. If that's what we're going to say it is, she just fast, let's find out why.
Exactly.
Because she didn't just come out fast.
Yeah.
If that is truly the case. So thank you for that, Jim, because you worded that perfectly. And we need to just, I don't know, it's just a lot. We could talk about this for weeks.
Right.
Yeah, because it needs to be talked about,
It
you know. What was your biggest, I don't want to say obstacle, right? Because you said you grew up in South Sacramento. I'm from South Sacramento, and you said it was just a lot going on for you, just trying to navigate and just stay out of harm's way. What was the hardest part of that for you? Was it you kind of had a lot of freedom to like to do your own thing, so you didn't have nobody telling you, "No, get away from that"? Because Dr. Nish just spoke about how she always had people on the other side saying, no, don't go to the right, stay over here.
Right.
Yeah. Would you say that was one of your biggest obstacles?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just to give a little bit of background, I come from a family with addictions.
Okay.
And me not knowing my parents, they're both from down south as well, but me only having my dad's family I support, like a lot of families don't believe in getting help or talking to people about what's going on behind the scenes, right? And so not having that much structure, but people automatically putting on me, oh, she's just fast, she's just running the streets, you know? So I started off going to church on my own with friends and family.
Okay.
And as the environment that I was in, I loved going to the community centers, but that also meant me being around a lot of people, meeting different people, starting new things, like being gang related and taking on people who are like my brothers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
And so it really just changes your aspect and the way that you look at things, especially when you're looking for a family because you've been disowned by your own.
Okay.
And you don't know what love feels like, right?
Thank you for that
And so
transparency.
people, yeah, of course, people often place these things on young people and don't look at the background and the history of why they do the things that they do. They don't look at how they can help them or activities that they can keep them and resources out of these kind of things.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was one of my biggest struggles that pulled me to being exploited myself. So.
Okay. But look at you. You came out on the other side, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
How long was that era in your life?
So as you grow in your work and your healing, it looked like as if it became when I was a teenager, but it started younger in my community with people around me introducing things to me that I knew wasn't okay, or like having me take things that I shouldn't have been taking, or introducing me to sexual acts that I was only a little girl and they were much older than me, right? So it started from there. Then it started with getting into drugs, and then I found myself having boyfriends, being in abusive relationships, looking for a place to stay because I didn't feel safe at home. I didn't feel cared about at home. So really it started as early as the age of 12 for myself.
Oh, wow.
And that's the average age of entry into this life. And what we
12 years old.
12 years old. And what we recognize is what Lauren said in her situation is unfortunately very common, that grooming starts 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. So even when they're coming to our attention at 12, there's already underlying things that have already happened.
Tell us a little bit about, before we get ready to wrap up, it went so fast. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 to this. Tell us a little bit about what we have here. Hold them up. I don't know which ones we want to go with. Or you know what, we can randomly go through them all. And then I want you guys to give us a description of what these are and what exactly are these, journals?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll start talking about them, and then Lauren can kind of go a little bit deeper into it. But so we have 4 journals up here, and they're more than journals,
Okay.
right? They're guided prompts through healing and self-exploration.
Okay.
So we have this series of my queen era, my soft girl era, and my villain era. And as Lauren opens some of these up, you'll see that our main purpose of creating these are to really connect with young people and meet them where they're at.
Okay.
As you heard from Reese, she's many things, and then she's also a clinician. And so this brings in music and art and rap and chakras and spirit animals and energy and all these different things to kind of connect and say, hey, this lyric from Lizzo might connect with how you're feeling today, or what is your mood? Have you taken a moment to check in with yourself? And kind of giving that opportunity to go at your own pace, but start to become aware. Our whole thing is about building awareness and giving people their agency back. To
Okay.
recognize, like, hey, this actually, I don't really have boundaries. Like, what is that about? I can have boundaries, like,
Okay.
you know. So these are just different guided tools for being able to navigate that with youth influence. And so I don't know if there's anything more you want to add or share about that.
You perfectly said that. And once again, shout out to Reese because she created these co-long.
I was just going to ask you who did that.
Yeah,
All right,
she
shout out to
created
her.
these.
Oh, that's awesome.
They are just great. They are targeted towards women, Black women, and different versions of ourselves. So again, my queen era, it's okay to be at that point in your life where you have surpassed things in your life and you're able to set those boundaries. My soft girl era is all about being okay with saying no and uplifting those things you should be pouring into yourself. And my villain era is personally my favorite because it's mainly about setting boundaries in those spaces where people will be like, well, why are you being this way? it's okay to be the villain in your own story sometimes, because that's how you'll be able to get to your queen era. Set those boundaries, protect yourself to pour into yourself. And so these guided journals are just a creative way of helping you get there.
I love it, man. Shout out Reese for that. That's awesome. I know it's so much more we could be talking about, but we're going to get ready to wrap it up. I want you to take each one of you. You have separate socials, right? The agency.
Yes, we have the agency. And
Look right in here and tell everybody how they can get involved, whether it's website, Instagram, Facebook. Give them all of those handles,
Okay.
and then we'll and then even if you're personal, if you want them to get involved with that, and then we'll go and have you give them your information too. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So feel free to follow us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and even Facebook. Village_is_possible. You can also follow us on our website, villageispossible.org. You can fill out a contact us form and be a subscriber to our mailing list. So we send out a lot of the information that you heard about us talk about today. We let you know, like, this is what's happening in the community. These are areas to shout out. I love how it was mentioned that there's also areas of joy, right? Like, we really bring in a lot of play and creativity. And I also want to uplift that we are fundraising to continue to be a community-led organization. We don't go the traditional route of getting funds that are connected to other people's outcomes. We let youth define their own outcomes, which means we fundraise for our youth. So we have a 5K that can be walked, ran, or just kickbacked at. Okay. That's coming up on October 11th.
Okay.
And that'll be in Fairfield, California. So if you follow us on any of our socials or go to our website, you'll find out more information.
Okay. And then tell them how they can get involved and follow you on your social platforms.
Absolutely. You can follow me, find me, of course, always through village_is_possible. But also you can get connected through my personal page on Instagram, SQVIISHY, Squishy. Especially if you're finding a place to feel safe, centered, and need some support.
All right. Thank you so much. I totally enjoyed these ladies. I hope you guys did too. And once again, I hope you guys took away some information that you feel can be helpful to you or somebody that you love or just somebody in the community. Make sure you guys tap in with them on all their social platforms and keep them in mind when it's time for Big Day of Giving, because it definitely takes a village, all right? And we need to be there to support these young girls that are out here being trafficked. And, you know, we found out about the labor as well. So it's just so many layers. But we're going to get these ladies back into the building when Reese is feeling better, because it's so many more layers that we need to peel back. And, yeah, until next time, y'all reach back for those that are coming up behind you and pay homage to those who did it before you. It's free, and you'll feel good about yourself. Peace, one love. May God bless your hustle. And we out of here.
You tuned in. It's the First Lady point of view. First Lady point of view. You tuned in. It's the First Lady point of view. First Lady point of view. Culture, music, news, reviews. You tuned in.